So what we want to do now is set up our very first scene and get into the workspace and then discuss a little bit more about the workspace. So we've already kind of seen the welcome screen and the home area, but let's dive a little bit deeper now. So again, I'll launch GameSalad and I'm presented with this welcome screen. And all we're going to worry about is creating a blank new document. So I'll double click on that. And now we're presented with this home area that we reviewed already. We're always presented with this because at this point we want to choose what device that we want to build a game for. And for the sake of these tutorials, I'm always going to choose the iPad landscape because it gives me a nice size workspace. So now what do? Well, we actually want to create a scene, and you can see we have an initial scene already created for us, so we can simply click on that. So we're going to leave the home space and go directly into the work area by clicking on a scene here. So we'll click Initial Scene, and then we're right inside the GameSalad workspace. So we're not going to create anything in this video, but the videos that follow, you're going to be amazed how quickly we're creating actors and creating interactions with those actors. But for right now, I just kind of want to review what each one of these items are and what they do. So over here we have the inspector. And this is where we have all of our actors. And if you watch the previous video, I kind of compared GameSalad a lot to like a theater production. You have actors and you have a stage and you have different scenes and different props. You have an orchestra with music. I know this might sound silly at this point, but you really should think of GameSalad in that way because everything is set up that way. So over here is where we're going to hold all of our actors. Our actors can be anything. They can be characters, and so when we think actors, usually think some sort of person or creature. But an actor is pretty much anything that goes onto the stage, which we see this big black area here. So an actor could be a prop, like a tree, or it can be a character that runs around, or it can be a rock, or it can even be something like a user interface element, like a timer or a play button or a fire button or a joystick of any kind. All of the things that we're bringing onto the stage essentially are actors. So they go here, and then we drag them onto the stage. When you want to create a new actor, all we need to do is click this plus button. And now we've created a new actor by the default name of Actor 1, which I can drag and drop, and now I have my actor on my stage. Now in the last video we saw what happened when we clicked this preview button. We didn't see anything, we just saw this blank stage, but now that I've dragged an actor out, if we click preview, which is essentially launching our game, putting it in play mode, we can see now we have this iPad size screen and we have our actor who's very boring and doesn't really do anything sitting in the center of our stage. But essentially at this point you've already created a GameSalad game. Now granted there's no interaction, there's no artwork, and it's really boring, but if you know how to create actors, put them on the stage, then you are essentially creating an application which you can then publish that no one would buy because of course it's incredibly boring, but we'll fix that in a little bit. So down below we have the library, and the library is where we get all these powerful behaviors and attributes that make our actors do exciting things. And you're going to learn those in future videos, so don't worry about how I'm doing this right now, but I just want to demonstrate something really quick. If I were to grab something like accelerate and drop that in here, and we go back by pushing the back button, and then I were to preview this, you can see instead of having a boring actor, we have an actor that now is doing something exciting. So over the next few tutorials, you're going to see how fast you can take boring actors and turn them into exciting actors that are controllable by you. So that's what all these things do. You notice that I used the accelerate behavior, and there's all sorts of things like animate and change size and destroy and grow and move and rotate and play music. There's just a tremendous amount of behaviors which are all simple to add to your actors, so your actors can do pretty amazing things. So that's in the library what the behavior tab is. The image tab allows us to import all sorts of images. In a few videos we'll actually be adding artwork to our actors so they don't just look like these white squares, but they actually look like characters and props and trees and interface elements. So to add in images, all you need to do is click on the Images tab and then click this plus button down here, and then you can start importing images. The same is true with sounds. Obviously any game you create has to have beautiful artwork, but it also has to have great audio, great music, and great sound effects. By clicking on this and then clicking the plus icon down here, we can import a whole bunch of sounds. So the main menu bar hasn't changed from the previous videos, so we don't need to really review that at all. The only other things that I'm going to review here is that in addition to this preview button, you notice that there's a play and stop button here. If I were to click play, we're essentially previewing the game. I can click stop to reset back to the current state, but I normally don't like using these. I find that they don't quite give you as an accurate representation or simulation of how your game is working, rather than clicking this preview button here at the top. So pretty simple stuff. All you need to know is that your actors live up here. We work on them by double clicking on them and giving them all sorts of brains and intelligence. So I'll back up and we'll learn that in a few videos. But your actors live up here, and when you create them, we actually want to add them to the stage. And things like the brains of the actors, their behaviors, images, the way the actors look, and sounds, the way the actors sound and the way our games sound, are all stored down here into your library. So I know that was a ton of information without any sort of real satisfaction or being able to do anything. So don't worry, the next set of videos that you're going to be watching is really all going to be about getting you up and running as quickly as possible, and you'll be surprised how quickly you're creating some very exciting things here in your stage. I just wanted to take a moment to review the interface and get you familiar with what all these different areas were.